I mean, I joked with my mom, with my family. I'm like, I I need him to struggle a little bit because it wasn't easy for me. And I remember sort of, walking with a bucket and walking somewhere to pump water and bring that water back. And that was sort of how we showered and cleaned. And I had a different experience than him. And I want him to understand that or experience that a little bit. And I think he is. I think he's very appreciative. But at this age, it might be hard to sort of reconcile it a little bit.
Hi, and welcome to Chatham Coffee Tour. Today I have my guest, Pelinda Deegan. Pelinda is a Chatham resident of about how long would you say have you been in Chatham?
Let's see, Charlie's 12. So I always refer to Charlie because we moved here when he was a baby. So we've been here for 13 years.
13 years. And Pelinda and her husband own two businesses. Is it more than that, or is it just two businesses?
So we own Mom and Pop's Burgers in Chatham and also a Playa kitchen and Tiki bar in Chatham Gardens. And then we recently are opening Mom and Pop's in Yarmouth. So
That's what I thought. Tom had told me that you were working on another place, so that's pretty exciting. Um, Yay! So it's great. So how did you end up in Chatham? How did you get started here? When's the first time you visited?
this is going to be really silly for me to say, but I never knew anything about Cape Cod. I can't even tell you where it was on the map, on the map when he mentioned it. But so we met in San Francisco. I was finishing college, and he worked for a consulting firm. Um, and I was working at a restaurant, which happened to be next to his consulting firm. And we got married. I had a baby. Charlie was 3 months old, and his parents are much older, and they have a small cottage here in Chatham. And so we decided to stay there in the winter when Charlie was born. And the main reason was to be closer to his parents because they were much older, and that was really the main reason why we moved back in the evenings.
So did you think you'd only be here for one winter when you first came?
Yes, it was supposed to be temporary. One winter turned into two, and it was that when we first moved here, it never stopped snowing. It was one of those bad winter seasons.
Oh, it was 2015 then.
I want to say 20, yeah, 2015.
Yeah, because I remember that too. Because your son Charlie and my son Bo are very close in age. I remember meeting you like when they were little,
At the
and
church.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that winter to have a toddler and be so cold and snowy every day was a challenge. I remember.
It was, but I didn't think I really knew the challenge. We just had so much fun with it because I've never been around that kind of snow. I grew up in California and LA, and so I had so much fun with it. I was like, let's go outside. Let's go
Put
for
the
a
snow
walk.
gloves on? Yeah, yeah, because it is like it can be snowy, but for the most part, other than a week of cold in like February, it's usually very walkable. You can still be outside even though there's snow.
I see people outside in any condition. It's there, when there's a hurricane or any kind of storm, we're always sort of chasing it. With Charlie, we drive to the fish pier and we see the waves. We'll drive to Nauset to go look at the waves. I don't know, it's kind of a fun thing for us.
But you were born in the Philippines, is that right?
I was, yeah, yeah, Philippines.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's not probably a lot of snow there.
No, not many. And if there were, yeah, we that would be a problem.
That would be a problem. So you started there and then ended in California and then ended coming to Chatham. So you first, I love this story. So you and Tom were here, and let's go on, and you decided to stay another year, and then you were probably like, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know how we I think we just rolled with it. We ended up finding a rental. So we did that in the beginning. We did the whole, we moved out of his parents' cottage in the summer because they rented it out. And we were able to find a rental in, I think it's called Honeysuckle Road, right by the Atwood Museum. And I can't sit still, so I ended up volunteering for different organizations. Do you remember when the big green building was the capabilities building? And they had blueberry pie eating contests there. Do you remember that?
Yes, my brother won one of them.
Oh, of course.
It was a family event. We all went down to watch him win the blueberry pie eating contest.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was really sweet. They had it every day in the afternoon, and all the kids and the families would walk from, their home, and they'd just line up and stuff their faces with blue. It was so sweet, and I really love that the thrift shop or capabilities farm. And I wanted to volunteer, so I volunteered there, and I ended up that was my first job here on the Cape.
Well, and for those of you who might remember, that building was the old Calico Cat building, which when I was a kid was a candy store, and they used to sell calico fabrics, and you could buy them and make quilts, and they had little calico cats. That's why they was named that.
Oh,
But
that's so
that's
sweet.
interesting.
Yeah.
So did you start as a volunteer, or you ended up working for them?
Yeah, so I ended up volunteering there, and I made connections with everybody that worked there, and I really love their mission, and I just totally believe in what they're doing with the community. And when a position opened up, I applied for it and ended up getting it, and I worked there for I think a little over 5 years.
Neat, neat. And then you decided, well, let's start a business.
Well, actually, no, I was still working at Capabilities, and Tom decided he didn't want to work for the consulting firm that he worked for. And he said, you know what, let's try to I want to try to do something different. I don't want to wear this suit and tie anymore, and let's try to see what opportunities are here. And we had a good friend who opened up a burger restaurant in San Francisco. And so for a week, he flew out there and he tried to just learn everything there is. Um, what's great about Tom is he is really great at saying, I don't know what I don't know. And if I don't know this, then let's who I can learn it from. And so he went back to San Francisco. I think they call it stodging. So he stodged and he just sort of stuck by our friend's side and learned everything he could, what it takes to
And had a
open.
lot of burgers, I bet.
We had a lot of burgers. And I remember we moved back to the cottage. And I remember just a whole month of every day I would come home from work and having to try pop sauce. This is going to be pop sauce. And it just made me sick. I think so I just got so sick of trying his different sauces. But I can't speak to this as much as he can because I was working at Capabilities. And so I am sort of adjacent or in the periphery and just kind of learning bits and pieces of it as he was, he was talking to different people in town. He was trying to make connections. So he can tell you more about that. But from my end, I was just sort of the guinea pig. I'd come home from work and try different burgers and sauces every night.
Yeah, the burgers. And so the name Mom and Pops, where does that come from?
We played around with it a little bit. At first, we were going to name it Charlie's, but we were working with Allison Parker. She has her branding studio. She also did Joe Jam. I think she was part of that.
She did.
Really
She's done a
just
lot.
a badass team, super creative, women owned. So she's amazing. She's the coolest person I know. I think.
I totally agree. She did some design work for me too, for my logo for business. Yes.
Oh, she did. Awesome. So we were sort of bouncing things off with her. We wanted to name it Charlie's. But the restaurant prior to us, I think they named it after their son. So we wanted to just get away from that a little bit. And excuse me, at that time too, we were sort of refining our menu. So it reflected a little bit of influence from Tom. So the East Coast side, so the burgers, the fish sandwiches, chicken sandwiches, and then we had a little bit of just California influence too. So we have a Mission dog, which is sort of a street hot dog from San Francisco on Mission Street. So we loved going to concerts. and just going to Giants day games. That was our favorite thing to do. And so we'd get out and there'd be a lady with her cart with bacon wrapped hot dogs on Mission Avenue. So that was sort of, so we had some California influences. And so I think it was either Tom or Allison that mentioned, well, since both of you sort of influenced the menu, let's call it Mom and Pop's Burgers. So that's how that came about.
And you have some Filipino food on it too, the lumpia, right? Am I
Yeah.
pronouncing that right?
Yep.
Yes.
Lumpia. We've had some names. People will come in. It's really funny. They'll be like, "Oh, I want some lumpies." Uh, so they have different names for it, which is kind of funny. They'll come up with some funny names, but yeah, some a
And
lumpia.
describe what that is. Yes, because my son used to love them, and he still does. We get them all the time. My older son, Ben. Yeah.
Basically, it's a Chinese egg roll. So Filipino food is an influence of um, Chinese food and Spanish food. So it's a little bit of everything, but lumpia is kind of like an egg roll, but we put meat in ours. It's a pork egg roll. And then off season, we'll do different Filipino specials like chicken adobo and other things. And so that's how um, we started out as a pop up from those Filipino specials. And that's how a Playa came about.
Apply. So tell about, so Mom and Pop's is like a very fun, edgy sort of burger place. But a Playa has a completely different energy to it. First of all, it's downtown, outside, kind of in the heart of Chatham, yet tucked away. And explain that.
I don't know. We got so lucky with a Playa and the location just because it really works with our concept. Um, so it's a playa means seaside in my native language. So it means seaside. So a playa kitchen and tiki bar. The tiki bar sort of was second to the food. When we were there and I was just kind of taking in the space, it's 100% outdoors. I think people still don't understand that it's all outdoors because we always have to watch the weather. And we've closed several times because of the weather. And so I think,
But you've been
people,
open during some pretty good storms too.
and we've been open and my joke is, oh, we're like Disneyland. We make the rain happen, so it's part of our aesthetic, but people love it when it's sort of drizzling and they're under the tarp or under the tiki umbrellas and they're having their Mai Tais. People have said, "Oh, it's fine. I feel like I'm in the Bahamas," or um, it's a fun little spot. And actually, we're going into our fourth season, and I when you're working, you never really take in the experience. You're just sort of going through it and working through it. And now that we're in our fourth season, and people have been messaging us, and I think it's become a really fun, special place for a lot of people. Um, we'll have some people will say they've never had Filipino food. This is their first time trying it. And, some people say it's kind of fun to do something a little different within their week. They always go to their same spots, Handy Manor, the Squire, Lighthouse Beach, same spots. And then one night out of the week, they get to have a different experience with the playa. So I don't know, it's kind of special.
And it is very special. And how is it harder or because Mom and Pop's is year round and a playa is seasonal because it's outdoors. Is it harder to be seasonal or harder to be year round?
I think if you ask me or Tom or our team, they might all have different answers.
I can see there's pluses and minuses with both of them, right?
Yeah, I think the year with Mom and Pops, it's standardized. So it's it's easier to run it the year round. Although it's really hard in the winter because it's challenging in the winter. We keep open to keep our staff employed. So Mom and Pops will have its challenges in the winter. But I think in the winter, we've sort of embraced it by having our weekly specials. We've had different specials over the winter. We've had tacos. We've had the roast beef sandwich, which was a really big deal for chef and our crew because I think it's a big thing in Massachusetts. So it took us a little longer to launch that because we do a lot of research. We test everything out before we know it's ready to go. Um, I will say I can't take credit day in and day out. I have my 9 to 5 job, and then I try to help out with the restaurants with the social media.
We'll give Tom credit for them for sure, but you must live it still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can't take all the credit, but we have an amazing team and leadership team that's there day in and day out. So we have the different specials. We do a lot of research before we launch the specials. The tacos, the roast beef sandwich. We've had what else? We've had, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. We've had some sort of buffalo chicken sandwich, and it's kind of fun. It just changes things a little bit, and it makes things a little exciting.
That's great. And how about Charlie? Does he like in the summer? Does he bounce back and forth between the two? I know he's got a busy sports schedule too, but does he have his favorites?
Yes. Well, as you know, dinners start with baseball season. Dinner's either at 4 or 9:30, right? And I can never seem to pick up my rhythm. So we'll either stop by. Um, it depends. Mom and Pop's closes at 8, and a Playa is a little later. So he's got his order at a Playa. He orders a bistec, which is steak and rice, but it has this sauce from it's soy and calamansi, which is a Filipino lemon, Filipino citrus. It's a cross between lemon and a kumquat. So it's a little bit more floral. So you mix that in with the soy and a bed of rice, sort of really tender steak, and he'll eat like 2 of those. Uh,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's growing like a weed right now.
it's crazy. It's crazy. And then at Mom and Pop's, he'll eat lumpia, a double cheeseburger, and then fries, and then he'll want like short and sweet after. So
You have a full-time job. Tom full-time at Mom and Pop's, and then you have time to a son who's 12 and needs you a lot, and then you had time to open a new business. I mean, that's pretty impressive. You must work all nonstop, and especially in the summer.
we try. I would complain all the time. I love a clean house, so I'm always like, oh my God, the house is a mess. I need to clean, or I need to do this, and I need to do this. So I've sort of shifted that mind shift a little bit to start thinking, this is a privilege. This is such a privilege to have, Charlie, who's got all kinds of activities. And I love the parents that I get to hang out with. I love watching these kids grow because I never played sports. And so I sort of live vicariously through him. And this, it's an amazing thing for kids where they can learn to be on a team and be a great teammate and learn to deal with setbacks. And if things aren't going perfectly, they know how to deal with things. They're learning how to respect the ref or respect the ump and listen to the coaches. I think it's such a huge deal. And that's been such an amazing experience for Charlie. And then me, somebody who's super not athletic at all, I get to experience that with him. So it's just been really fun. Yeah.
It's great. He's a great kid. As you know, my son was injured recently, and Charlie went up to him and said, "Bo, how you doing? What's going on?" So, you've raised a good boy.
I'm trying. I'm trying. He can be a little stinker sometimes, but he's a kid and he's learning. That's what it's about.
Will he work with you? I know I talked to somebody else who said that you can, if you have your own business, you can have them employed at. I thought you said 13. So maybe one more year
Yeah,
for you.
13 or 14. It's kind of funny. His buddy, who we both know, um, they're in their biking crew. I don't know if I'm allowed to say names here, but he asked if he can work at a Playa, but he's young and it's a Playa's a bar and there's drinks, so I don't know if it's the right environment. So we're asking around people, but I think 14, 13 and 14, that's with limited hours, they can certainly work. But I don't know, he's got this busy schedule with baseball with summer coming up. Um I worked in the Philippines at a factory, stapling tags, and I just remember having that memory.
You
And
did? How old were you when you did that? Do you
oh
know?
gosh, I was in the Philippines, so I was probably 7 or 8. But that was a common
Wow.
thing back in the
Wow.
Philippines.
And what did you stapled like something in an industrial fabric or something?
It's crazy, but I when I moved to San Francisco, I went to Gap, and that's where that's the Gap headquarters. And I remember it just had this like flashback where I pulled some sort of jean shorts, and then I was, trying to look at the size, and it said made in the Philippines. And then that's when I had that sort of flashback. And I remember sort of stapling, and that flashback was I remember stapling tags onto clothing, and it was just stacked and stacked and stacked and super colorful. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that was a common thing where I came from. So,
That's very interesting. I mean, here we have a different work ethic and a different timeline, right? But it will be good to have him work there. I'm sorry,
yeah,
what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, because of my experience, I always want Charlie. I mean, I joked with my mom, with my family. I'm like, I, I need him to struggle a little bit because it wasn't easy for
Yes,
me.
we
And
all do. Yeah.
I remember sort of, walking with a bucket and walking somewhere to pump water and bring that water back. And that was sort of how we showered and cleaned. And, um, you know, I, I, I had a different experience than him, and I want him to understand that or experience that a little bit. But,
And
with
be
the rest,
appreciative.
yeah.
Yes.
And I think he is. I think he's very appreciative. But at this age, it might be hard to sort of reconcile it a little bit. So we're trying.
But he's watching his parents work hard. And I think that is the value that even if even if he's kind of bouncing from one thing to the other as a kid, as he's supposed to, he sees the work you both put into your businesses.
Thank you.
And
Thank
then
you.
tell me a little bit about your 9 to 5 job. So, what's that about? And share with everybody.
So I work at Community Development Partnership, and our mission is to help, to create a thriving Lower and Outer Cape community through accessible and stable housing and economic development opportunities. We mainly serve the Lower and Outer Cape, and what I do is I work and I think this is how we connected. I manage our homeownership education program, and through that, I facilitate first time home buyer workshops where I invite experts like you to help speak at our workshops to talk about the process of home buying. And so we help first time home buyers sort of understand what to expect, the right questions to ask, and sort of to get a pulse and get an understanding of the home buying process so that when an opportunity arises, they are ready and they are ahead, right? And so, and we also connect home buyers to resources that are available, because I think that's one of the challenges. A lot of our local families that are thinking of buying, they don't really know the resources that exist in the area. So we try to connect them with the resources. And the key thing for us is layering all of the different resources to help them close on that, on their house, which,
And to
you
probably
know that.
understand, right, the whole process because it's it's so daunting with the housing prices. For second homeowners, it's still a lot, but for primary young families that are trying to buy their first house, it's daunting. What is there anything special you think that is like a great program or a great resource for people that are looking as first-time home buyers now?
Yeah, so several towns, they have a down payment assistance program. It's up to I think some are up to $30,000. I know Chatham, they have a rent sort of the MCI program, right? Where you are selected as part, it's part of a lottery system. So you're selected for one of their MCI homes, and the contract, I believe, is for 5 years, and half of the rent is it goes to escrow. So at the end of that 5 years, you have this sum of money towards a down payment to buy a home. And so that's a really great program for, a lot of our first time home buyers.
Sure. Because even if you cycle through a few buyers a year, every couple of years too, it's really nice to, because coming up with that down payment just feels so overwhelming.
Right, right. And they have that time where I've been working with a family that went through that program where we're working on her credit, or we were working on budgeting and mortgage affordability, so that when that 5 years up, they're ready. They're ready to um, buy a home. And we all know it's hard. It's not that easy, but they're doing the things to educate themselves and learn all the resources out there to make, have them be ready.
Yeah, have a home. And I love it. And putting the money kind of back into the community because, that's going to help you as business owners too, as people that you need staff and you need people that can live here and afford it as well.
Right. It's all connected. All connected.
It's all connected. I love it. Well, and my last question, as I always ask, is tell me, so even though you've only lived here around 13 years, which seems like a long time, but to the long time Cape Codders, it feels like
Yeah,
you're
no.
still a wash ashore, right? Where does your favorite little secret hideout? What's your favorite place to go?
So it might not be a secret any longer, but I love Sylvan's Gardens.
Oh, that is a good answer. All right. You know what? I've never walked it, so I would love to hear it. What is great about it?
Especially in the spring, I sort of have this tradition um, with another mommy friend that I've gotten to know through the school system. We have this tradition every spring. We like to take a walk. She'll bring her dog. I'll bring Charlie. She'll bring her kid, and we just do the loop. And it's just beautiful bed of daffodils and um, rhododendrons, and it's just a beautiful landscape. And there's a pond right there too that we can walk. It's a short walk too. So if you're in a hurry, but you still need to get your outdoor time, it's a great spot for it.
And it's right in West Chatham, so it's close to work for you, right? So you could, if you're at Mom and Pop's, you could just zip right over, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Although recently, so the kids go to school at 8:30, so we've been trying to wake up early. And Charlie and I have been going to Kachapiniket
Catch in North Chatham.
in
Yes,
North
Catch.
Chatham. And so it's just a little beach. We park there in the morning and we just throw rocks, and it's just a different light in the morning, really sweet. And so yeah, I have my coffee there and we're playing catch and throwing rocks, just for 15 minutes before I take him to school. And that's also been a special spot too.
I love that. I love that for you. For me, I'm still yelling, get at the car about 2 minutes before school starts. So there is no morning relaxing time. I would love that, but Bo is more of a night owl, so mornings are not right now at this point anyway his favorites. So I love the vision of the two of you skipping stones and Koch Pinnacle Beach and right before school.
We don't do it all the time. It's something that we're trying to do. We've done it a few times, but the two times that we've done it.
It's still terrific, especially now it's so light so early. So
Yeah. And I don't get to see him as much. He goes to school and then he has baseball, and then I'm working, and then I have night events. So I thought, you know what, I'll take you to school. It's a little something.
I love that. That's wonderful. Well, it's been great talking to you today. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing kind of your insights. And I look forward to seeing you definitely downtown at a Playa this summer a lot. And I'm sure everybody will be interested to know the background of that as well.
Bring the sunshine with you.
Yes, I will. Much better, although I bet it's fun in the rain too.
Yeah. But if not, I'll see you in the ball field.
At least, yeah, I would definitely see you at the ball field. Well, thank you very much, Pelinda.
Thank you for having me, Barb.
For more local stories, favorite spots, and inspiring people who chose Chatham, follow and subscribe to Chatham Coffee Tour and stay connected. Whether you're already here or dreaming about life in Chatham, this is your place to belong.